Bhagavan Krishna Narayana tells his parents, his father especially, please carry me across the Yamuna to Gokula. And there Yashoda, the wife of Nandalal, has delivered a child. So you leave me there and bring that baby back here. So Vasudeva, total bhakti. Bhakti means no hesitation, no doubt. Oh, how will I go? It's raining, it's pouring, I don't have an umbrella, it will take time. What if the guards catch me? How will I go? There are fetters in my hand. We'll give 1,000 excuses. Oh, how will I tell people to take the course? They're asking me so many questions. How do I do this? How do I do that? Vasudeva had no doubts. He just stood up immediately to execute what the Lord has said. When whatever, when there is this inner voice telling you, then you function on that. Everything, the path will move. Literally, in this case, you will see the fetters fell off the hands and legs of Vasudeva. The door of the jail opened. The guards were fast asleep as if they were unconscious. He put the baby in a little basket, put it on his head and walked out. And outside the streets, I told you already it was heavily raining, so nobody was walking around, so there was nobody to notice this happening. Vasudeva walked into the silent, quiet streets and straight on to the Yamuna, banks of the Yamuna. And as he reached the Yamuna parted. And he walked across. The way Moses led the slaves from Egypt, Vasudeva carried Krishna across the Yamuna, quickly walked to the house of Nandalal, the chieftain of the area, cowherds, they were all cowherds. And there he walked straight into Yashoda's room where she had given birth to a baby. And the midwife who had delivered her was also fast asleep. She had an idea that there was a baby girl she had delivered, but she had sort of also fainted kind of sleep. Yashoda was naturally, any woman who's delivered does go into a very deep sleep. Vasudeva quickly does the exchange of the babies, picks up this girl baby and walks back very fast. And as he comes out again and he enters the jail closes, gets locked, his fetters come on, and the guards hear And a baby girl cries a little more shrilly than boys. What it is, we don't know, but that's how it is. So the guards immediately ran to the waiting king. The king had not slept a jot. They ran to him and said, "The 8th child is born." So he dashes out of his room, comes straight up to the jail, walks in, picks up the baby, and Devaki is crying, "Don't do it, it's a girl. Oh, only the boy can kill you. Why would this girl kill you? Please don't do it." He doesn't hear anything. He just picks up the baby and, as usual, takes it by the legs, swings it over his head and dashes it against the wall of the prison. When the baby flies off his hands and goes up into the sky, and could she have not just gone quietly? No, she had to do her bit. Women, we can't keep our mouths shut. So she goes up and says, "Hey, Kamsa, the child you are looking for is not me, it is growing somewhere else. Thank you very much." So Kamsa immediately storms back to his palace, and he says, "Will nobody get rid me of this menace? Now it seems he's born somewhere else." So immediately the ministers have a meeting and they decide that they suggest to Kamsa that he gives an order that all babies born within this week should be killed. So all his soldiers go out and start killing babies. And it's so strange that even Herod in the Bible sends out people to kill babies. It's amazing, no? All this parting of the sea and then the Yamuna and the killing of children, blah blah. So similar. Anyway, so this is happening, and in the meantime, the baby Krishna, he's not yet got a name, by the way. He's still called Chuntu, Puntu, Kuntu something. Lala, he was called Nandalal. Nandalal, he was called by that only. Yashoda ki Bal, Nandalala. He still hadn't been given his formal name. It's yet to come. So the arrival of this child in Gokula, everyone spreads the news. They run very excited. Of course, morning, the midwife has a doubt. I thought I delivered a baby girl, but never, let me not open my mouth because here is a boy. I must have not seen properly. So I was in a daze, midnight. So I think I didn't see properly. Anyway, it's a boy. They must be very happy. Everybody is always happy with a boy. First time boy, they're very thrilled, I think. So she just keeps quiet. Soda, naturally, she was not half conscious about anything. And she was only too happy to have a boy. And the news goes to all the gopis and gopas. And they were all so keen to know what baby Yashoda got. So they all, one by one, come and see the baby. And anyone who saw the baby fell in love with him straight away. Literally fell in love, not just, oh, you like a baby, cute baby. This was falling in love. And one who could not go, but then she had a work to do. She had her cows to untie, milk and tie, do all the work she had to do as a cowherd. So she had unwillingly, she had to drag her feet from that house, go home. On the way, she would meet somebody and she would say, "Hey, do you know, Yashoda has got a boy and he's such a darling. Just go and see him." And go, "Oh, is that so?" And she was going somewhere else to fetch hay or something for her cow. But no, she deviates straight to Nandalal's house, gets a look of Krishna and then goes. So the news spreads like wildfire. Everybody starts making a beeline to Yashoda's house. Everybody go to see this divine baby. Hey, he's so dark, but so darling. Look at his ears, look at his nose, look at his big, big eyes. And when he looks at you, something happens to me. I forget who I am. What does that? And nobody knows it. That when they look into his eyes, eye gazing with the Lord. Give me a break. Huh? You can imagine, I don't think we can even, we can. Yes. Yeah. So, the whole place in Gokul, within a week, people start noticing that the flowers are blooming more, the fruits are sweeter, the whole place looks greener, the rain is drizzling and it makes so pleasant, everything is so beautiful, everything is wonderful, and they're wondering what happened. How is it that Gokul now seems to be extra beautiful? In the meantime, in Kamsa's palace in Mathura, he being very anxious, one of his women demons, Asuri, Putana, comes and says, I will help you to get rid of this baby. And he says, how will you do that? Oh, you leave that to me, I can do this. So he says, okay. So she turns herself into otherwise she's a very ugly woman. Being an Asura, the beauty or the ugliness in the heart will be seen in the face and the eyes, especially. So however much makeup you may put on, the beauty, the inner beauty will get seen through outside. So she converts herself. She has these Asura, these demons, they have these powers. So she converted herself into a very beautiful young maiden and goes to Gokul. And there she goes from house to house and she picks up wherever she hears there are newborn babies, she goes there, feeds them with her breast milk, and they die because she has poison in her breast. So the babies would die. So soon in Gokul, there was a lot of crying happening. Every house there was mourning happening. Not every house, wherever there were newborn babies. Then she reaches Yashoda's house. Yashoda, like any good, honest, hard-working housewife, in between she would attend to the baby, then she had to run in to do something in the kitchen, then in the cow shed, somewhere she was all the time busy. So while she was busy away from the baby for a short while, Putana enters, picks up the baby, takes it aside and starts feeding milk from her breast. The baby, suckling the milk, sucks her life out of her body. And in a trice, instead of she killing him, he kills her. And Yashoda comes back, sees the baby missing, she creates a big hullabaloo and looks around, and what they hear is one big noise of some huge body falling on the ground. They go and investigate, they find this huge ugly woman, because once she dies, she takes back her original form, which is huge and ugly. So they see this demon lying on the ground, and this poor little baby suffering. Actually, he was gurgling and playing on her breast. But the mother, oh my poor little darling, oh what happened to you? Nothing happened to him. Only what happened, nobody said poor Putana. Huh? They all said, poor little baby, my baby, oh my baby, what happened? Boo, boo, boo. And he is happily playing. Nothing happened to him. And they finally had to dispose of the body, and in India they normally burn the body. They cremated the body, and they were all shocked to find that the fragrance coming from her body was of sandalwood. I mean, normally any body burning, the flesh, you can smell the flesh burning, but in her case, it was sandalwood fragrance. And why? Why do you think she was smelling of fragrance of sandalwood? Krishna had suckled her. And this is the wonderful thing, even Devaki did not get this honor of feeding her child. But Putana got it. Of course, Yashoda got it full time. But the second one who got it, the next one was Putana. So, instead of saying, Enna tavam shaidanai Yashoda, Enna tavam shaidanai Putana. That being a demon, you got the blessing of the Lord Narayana suckling from your breast. I mean, Yashoda you can understand. She's a good woman, nice woman, wonderful person. And Krishna purposely chooses her to bring him up. So, after Putana, continuously there is a stream of people that Kamsa keeps sending to kill Krishna. You know, now you can see two things. That it is not easy to be God. Don't think only you and I have enemies. God has more enemies and more ferocious than you and I. Maximum our enemies go yabby about you. They talk about you. That's all they can do. That's the least they can do. Or the most they can do. Isn't it? But look at this. Krishna, before he was in the womb only, he started, his own uncle was against him. So some people come and cry, my so-and-so doesn't like me, somebody doesn't like me. And so what? Krishna was not liked by many, starting from his uncle. And so the uncle starts sending the next batch of people to kill him. The next one was, this demon got into the wheel of a cart, wooden cart, which was parked in the courtyard of Nandalal's house. And one day, Nandalal had guests coming for lunch, and Yashoda was serving them lunch in the same courtyard, and she had put the baby under the cart for a shade because it was midday. The same cart where on the wheel the Asura was waiting, and he was planning to run over the baby and kill him. But Krishna, all babies how they kick their legs, have you seen it? So one of his kicks, he kicked the wheel, and the wheel was shattered into 1,000 pieces. I didn't count it, they say. 1,000 pieces. So once again, Yashoda, oh my poor baby, he would have been crushed under this cart, and she brings it inside. She is very upset, so she tells Nandalal, this Gokul is not at all good for us. It's not, this baby has already had second problem. So we'll shift the place, as if the place was the problem. See, we do that normally, India is no good, something is no good, something else is so good. You carry your karma. Krishna was carrying his karma with him. People would follow him, chasing him to kill him wherever he went. Isn't it? So that Yashoda, poor Yashoda, she was a very innocent kind of a woman. So she did not know better. And Nandalal said, yeah, we'll look into it. It's not easy if our whole community has to move from one place to the other. We have to meet with the other leaders and decide. It's not easy. We'll do it. But I'll think about it. Don't worry. So she's quiet. Then another day, the baby was sitting, and suddenly there was a big whirlwind, or what do you call it, a tornado? Okay? This dust storm, like how it whirls and lifts houses also in its wake. So like that, this one again was another demon sent by Kamsa, and his name was Trinavarta. These names I am telling mostly for Indians, so the others don't worry about it. Just know it as a tornado, dust storm. So this came up, picked up the baby, and went right up to dash him down on the ground. That was his plan. But the Lord had another plan. He had already made himself very, very weighty. And as the Trinavarta picked him up, he became weightier and weightier and weightier. By the time he had taken him up that 1,000 or 2,000 feet, the baby had clung to his neck, and he started feeling choked. And the weight of the baby was so huge that a tornado which can lift off a huge house and dash it to pieces was choked himself, and he went crashing to the ground dead. And again what Yashoda saw was one dust storm and a child vanishing. Next moment she sees one demon on the ground and her baby again playing with that demon's body. Now I have a question. It has always haunted me. Were the demons after Krishna, or Krishna was attracting demons? Which was it? Opposite values are? Something like that, very serious. Can you see this? Why blame them after all? Rumi, in one of his poems, says, we are all resisting the hugest, greatest, biggest magnet that there is. Magnet, you know? Magnet that attracts iron filings. So the Lord Divine is the huge magnet which is attracting each one of us. And opposite poles attract. So you know what you have to do. You can become an Asuri or Asura and get instantly attracted towards be pulling the magnet. The magnet will pull you. So the more we resist, the more painful it will be. So here again, Trinavarta is killed, and Yashoda tells her husband, you know what? What's the problem? People were talking. I was talking that day in the temple. The other Behenji, that lady was telling me, have you named your children? No, we have not yet named. You know, Rohini's son also has not been named. My son has not. That is why these things are happening to my son. So quickly do something, get somebody, and we will have our naming ceremony. And Nandalal says, you know why I have not done it? I have not done it because if the news goes to Kamsa, he will know we have 2 babies here. And he'll officially come and take them and kill them. Now unofficially he's sending people. So I can't afford to attract attention. I have to wait. And when there's an opportunity, I will certainly do it. And soon enough, a great sage called Garga Muni comes that way in the village, and he being Nandalal being the head of the community, he goes to receive Garga Muni and says, sir, we are so honored to have you in our house. And he feeds him and, you know, takes care of him. And then, sir, if you don't mind, we have a request from you. Very reluctantly. Normally when we feed somebody, we think we own them. And we immediately think they are obliged to us. It's always the reverse. If somebody comes and eats from your house, know that you are blessed. This is a very normal thing in India, that when somebody comes, if at all they come to eat in your house, then your house gets blessed. This is how we look upon it. So there's no question of charging them for coming and eating in the house. And he says, yeah, ask, what is it you want? Sir, my 2 children, I have a child and my cousin's child also is there. These 2 have not been named, will you please name them? And the Garga Muni says, of course, sure, please bring them along. And so first the elder child is brought. Rohini brings her child. Garga sees the baby and says, oh, this child's name is Rama. And when he grows up, he is going to be very, very strong. So he will be called Balarama, strong Rama. And that was done in a second. It gives the baby back to Rohini. Next baby, Yashoda gives. He looks at it. Yashoda is like her heart has gone to her feet now. And she's whispering to Nandalal, see, I told you, something wrong with that child. See, he's not giving a name immediately. He gave a name to Balarama immediately. But my son is not given a name. Something wrong, something. Keep quiet. Don't talk. Sir, is everything okay? Yeah, everything is so okay. You know what? What, sir? My problem? What problem? No problem. The child has no problem. I have the problem. What? The child has so many names, thousands of names, that I don't know what name to give him. Which name to give? Because you can't be calling him Vishwam, Vishnu, Vashatkaro, Bhuta, Bhavya, Bhavat, Pravut, Bhuta, Krishna. You can't call him with 1,000 names, can you? Can you call him every day with all his 1,008 names? Is it possible? Huh? Even I have a few names, but I'd like to be known by one, then it's confusing which name and whom you are referring to. Right? So here he says, how can I? So he says, I'm only puzzling which one to choose so that it's easy to call every day. It calls Sri Daraha, Sri Karaha, Sri Manlo, Katraya, Shreya, Swaksha, Swanga, Shathanando. No, who will get this? So difficult to call by all these.
Multiplication impossible.
Yeah. So what to do? I'm looking for it. Yashoda is like, and then he says, you know what? This child is going to attract everyone towards him. I told you, the biggest magnet. Didn't I tell you? So that's what Garga Muni says. He is going to attract everyone. Those who don't get attracted will anyway come to kill him, and anyway they are going to get absorbed in him. That's what he means, but he doesn't say all that. He doesn't say he is going to have a lot of people coming to attack him. That he doesn't say. He just says he is going to attract everybody towards him. Everybody. Animals, birds, insects, humans, everyone is going to get attracted to him. From all over the world, all nationalities are going to get attracted to this. Because who is this? One divine, right? That one divine is going to attract everybody. Whatever religion you may be following, you will be still coming to the one divine, isn't it? That's what he meant. And because he is going to do that, the Sanskrit word for attraction is akarshan. Like the gravity, it will draw everyone down, towards it. Like that, attraction, akarshana. So for that he says the name Yashoda is like, and then he says, you know what? This child is going to attract everyone towards him. I told you, the biggest magnet. Didn't I tell you? So that's what Garga Muni says. He is going to attract everyone. Those who don't get attracted will anyway come to kill him, and anyway they are going to get absorbed in him. That's what he means, but he doesn't say all that. He doesn't say he is going to have a lot of people coming to attack him. That he doesn't say. He just says he is going to attract everybody towards him. Everybody. Animals, birds, insects, humans, everyone is going to get attracted to him. From all over the world, all nationalities are going to get attracted to this. Because who is this? One divine. Right? That one divine is going to attract everybody. Whatever religion you may be following, you will be still coming to the one divine, isn't it? That's what he meant. And because he is going to do that, the Sanskrit word for attraction is akarshan. Like the gravity, it will draw everyone down, towards it. Like that, attraction, akarshana. So for that he says the name will be Krishna, not Krishna. Krishna. Krishna would become female in Sanskrit. If you extend it, it will be Krishna means female. If you say Krishna, it refers, and Draupadi had a name Krishna. she was called Krishna. Why? Because she was also dark like Krishna. She was named that. So you have to actually say Krishna. So that is the name she gives. Yashoda is very happy. At last my son has a name. Nandalal, Yashoda ka Pal, all this what. I like to have a name. So Krishna is named and she is very, very happy. But what happens? Big but. He now knows he found his legs, he started walking, running here, there, and he naturally, any child you cannot contain. And he would not do the pranks only in her house. For him, the whole world is his house, no? So every house he went was his house. And he would go, and every house was not child-proof. So utter chaos in everybody's house. And they were all cowherds, they had milk and curd and butter and all this would be everywhere in pots. And he would go happily put his hand into any pot, lick the butter and sometimes break the pot, and he would come running back. And everybody had something to complain. Pinnalai pinninreduppan, Kannan pinnalai pinninreduppan. Tinna palam kondu taruvan. He will come, he will bite a fruit and come and give it to him. Gopi is singing. He will bite a fruit and give it to me. And then when I start eating it halfway, he will tap it from my hand and take it away. Tinna palam kondu taruvan. Padi tinginra podile tattipparippan. Tirada vilayattu pillai. Kannan teruvile pengalukku koyada tollai. Only for the girls he was a big pain. Tirada vilayattu pillai. And then if you ask, what is this? Why are you doing this, Krishna? Ennappanennaiyanendrar adani Echil padittu kadittu koduppa. Again, after he taps that, whatever you have bitten, he taps it, takes it back and says, hey Krishna, why are you doing this? You only gave me the fruit, now you are taking it again. He will again bite it and come and give it back to you. Adanai echil padittu kadittu koduppa. Tirada vilayattu pillai. So complaints were pouring to Yashoda. Yashoda, yes. Do you know what your son did today? Now what? Today he did this to me, today he did that to me. Da, da, da. Again in 10 minutes another person. Yashoda, where are you? Where are you? I am here. What happened? Your son. What about my son? He did this. When I was bringing water from the Yamuna in a pot, he throws a stone, breaks the pot. I have to go all the way back in the heat, in this hot sun, and go bring water again. What does you think? What do your son think of himself? You better keep him in check. And Yashoda would call, Krishna, come here. And he would come, yes, mom. And one smile, that's it. She would melt worse than butter. And she could never scold him. This was happening, this drama was happening for a long time. One day, one gopi, they were all quite fed up, complaining to Yashoda because she never took any action against her. But one day, one gopi comes running to Yashoda and says, now today you want to hear, you do what you want with your son. After all, he's your son. We don't care. Okay? He's eating mud. What? He's eating mud. Go. He'll get worms tomorrow in his stomach. Go and see it. Is that so? Quickly she taps her hand. She was doing something in the kitchen. She runs to the banks of the river and there he is standing with mud smeared on his face and on his shirt and on his hand. And she says, is it true you ate mud? She still, cannot believe it. Though she sees all the signs. People are telling me you ate mud. Open your mouth, she said. And he said, no, mom, I didn't eat. Open the mouth. First you open the mouth. Okay, mom. Open it wider. And she looks into his mouth. And what does she see? the whole universe, not only the world, the universe. And then the camera was zooming in. And it zoomed. It saw the solar, what do you call the solar what? System. And in the solar system, it zoomed in further. And then it got to the earth. She saw this earth. And then it zoomed in further. It was India. And in India, it zoomed in further. It was Uttar Pradesh. And in Uttar Pradesh, it was Gokula. And in Gokula, she saw on the banks of the Yamuna river a little Krishna with his mouth open and a Yashoda peering into it. And as that Yashoda was peering into that mouth, she saw that Yashoda seeing into another universe, again another planet Earth, again India, again Uttar Pradesh, and another Gokula. And in that Gokul, Krishna, Yashoda, look, that's it. She swooned. She couldn't take the third version of it. She just, Krishna immediately, oh mom. Then he says, bring some water. Somebody brings water. He puts water on his face. And his mother gets up. And this is the first attempt he makes to show his parents, his mother, who he is. But she couldn't take it. And once he couldn't take it, he says, okay, I won't trouble you, I won't disturb you. You know, very many times, even in our lives, the Lord is ready to expose Himself to us. But it becomes too much, infinity much for us that we cannot take it. So we say, like Arjuna, enough, I want to see the ordinary Krishna get back to normalcy. I don't want to see your Vishwarupa. Whenever he wants to show it to us, it is too much, overwhelming for us, that we prefer not to see it. We'll rather see a picture like this, safe and sound, very cute and sweet. But that's not his Vishwarupa Darshana. At the same time, birth, death and living happening for not one but 6 billion plus humans and any number of millions and billions of other creatures. At the same time, there is birth happening and death happening. Even in somebody's house, it's happening at the same time. Yes or no? And you can imagine this happening on a large scale. And all that to see in one instant is too much for any human being. And what is Yashoda, poor thing? She's a simple cowherdess. She faints, and when she wakes up, Krishna just wipes away the whole memory of what she saw. And so when she wakes up, she says, did you eat mud? She says, sorry mom, I won't eat it anymore. I'll be a good boy. And with his big eyes, when he looked at her, that's it. She then wipes his mouth, wipes his face, everything, carries him and takes him home. See, everybody's complaining about you. Everybody's talking ill about you. You think I'm feeling very good about it? Please, why do you do this? She's giving him a lecture and she takes him back home. Now, soon after this, another incident, again, serious complaint from somebody. And this time Yashoda this is after the mud incident, she is now very furious. Next time you do something, wait and see, I'm going to tie you up. I can't bear to hear this complaint, I'm going to tie you up. So and that very next day he gets into trouble. So it was not very long, the very next day. And so she says, today I'm going to tie you up and you better stay there. No mom, I didn't do anything, mom. Nothing, I'm not hearing any more. Just keep quiet, come here and stand. And there was this iron mortar, in which they would pound their grains in those days in the village. To that she said, I'm going to tie you, stand there. And you don't move from there. I'm going to get you a string. Now today's child would have run to the next street, but Krishna stood there patiently. And she goes in and brings the string. And she puts it round the mortar and him, and she goes to tie. This much of string is less. There's a gap, she cannot tie it. So she says, wait there, I'm going to get another string. So she goes in and brings a bigger string, attaches it to the previous one, and again she goes to tie it, when again this gap, same gap is left. She looks at him and she looks at the string, wondering whether he ate it up or cut it or something. But the string was the same she brought, and she was wondering what happened. So she brings again a third one, and that one also, same gap left. So this time she takes the string with her, goes in, gets another long string, again knots it up, brings it back, again this much left. Then she looks at him and she says, Krishna, don't trouble me like this, da. I have so much work to do. Please get tied up, she says. And the very next instant, she could tie him with the smallest string. So what does this show? What does this show? To tie up the divine, what do you need? Come on, I want to hear this. And what was it that was causing the gap? Ego. Perfect, you got it. That's it. Wonderful. Others who have not done it, who didn't get it, is here Ashtavakra again. And she ties him and she says, you better stay there. And she walks off inside and she goes in and cries to Rohini. Rohini, I tied him up. Just look through the window, is he okay? Is he okay? And Rohini is like, oh my God, Yashoda, when are you going to be firm with him? She is also goading him from inside. You are spoiling him also. So that's why today she tied him up. And Rohini says, I am not going to look at him through the window. If you want, you look. I am not going to do it. And she goes off to her house. I got better work to do than wonder whether your son is okay there or something. You take care of your son. She walks on. And Yashoda says, okay, no, I am not also going to check on him. Let him be. Better stay there. And she keeps working with tears in her eyes. She is upset that she's punished him. Right? Most mothers do this. I know that. I have cried many times. After beating my children or scolding them or punishing them, I would go and bawl my heart out inside and feel so miserable and unhappy. I'd get migraines because of that. No? You all do that, right? Yeah, all mothers guilty of this. So Yashoda also did it. Then now Krishna, he doesn't waste time. While he's tied, he still does some work or the other. Now what he does? He drags that mortar outside the house, goes to the backyard, and there are 2 trees growing. And in those 2 trees are imprisoned 2 Gandharvas. They had done some stupid goofing before, and so they were now cursed and they were caught into these 2 trees. They were cursed to be there. Till Krishna came, and what does he do? He takes the mortar between the trees, they crash down, and the Gandharvas are released. They thank him, oh thank you very much, and then they go away. Next comes Vatsa and Baka. Vatsa is a calf, and Balarama kills it, and Baka is a bird, and Krishna just takes the beak of the huge, it's a crane kind of a bird, and it's a long beak. He opens the beak, tears it apart and kills the bird, because both the calf and the bird were demons sent by Kamsa. They were coming to harm the people here, and both Balarama and Krishna kill each of these. And those of you, how many of you know Tirupavai here? Raise your hand. Only one person here, two. You know Tirupavai. Excellent. Pullin Vaikindanai Polla Arakanai Killi Kalaindanai Kirtimai Padipoi. Sing the praises. Andal says, another devotee, a great saint devotee of the south. She says, sing the praises of the great Lord who tore the beak of the bird. Pullin Vaikindanai. The next one is a very interesting story. The story of Aghasura. And it is connected with another episode. And such a beautiful concept of a story which you have never have seen or will ever see. Unless somebody copied this style of writing. Two stories intertwined. Aghasura was a snake, and he opened his, again, a snake demon, okay? Demon come to kill Krishna, and he had taken the form of a huge snake. What did he do? He waited with his mouth wide open. And the Gopas who had gone to graze the cows with Krishna, they thought it was a cave. And you know children, adventure. Hey, cave, hey, let's all go in. And they all troop in. And after they walked in, and then they found a tunnel. You know, first a cave and then a tunnel. So they thought they will go first investigate, come back and tell Krishna that they found a cave and a tunnel. So they walked in. And after they walk in, it's very dark inside. So they start getting scared, they start crying. Some of them are crying. So now they don't know whether to come back or what. They're suffering like this. When Krishna, looking for them, misses them, sees this mouth of the cave, and he knows immediately it's the snake's mouth. Yet he also knows that the Gopas had got in and he needs to save them. So he also walks into the snake and goes and meets the Gopas, and after he reassures them, and now the snake is happy Krishna has walked in, it closes its mouth to digest. Now you know huge pythons, what they do is after they swallow the prey, they secrete enzymes, digestive enzymes, which just eats up the bodies that they have taken in. So they will actually rest when the food is getting digested. So that's what the snake was planning when Krishna just expanded his body bigger and bigger. You know, he had already done it with Vamana, no? As Vamana had already done, it's not new to him. So he just expanded his body so huge that it burst the skin of the stomach of the snake, and they all come out very safe. And the boys are so excited about it. Wow, what an adventure. Now they are talking about adventure. Earlier they were very scared. Now that they're safely out, they said, hey Krishna, today we'll have a lovely story to go and tell our parents. We'll go and tell them, oh, what a big snake swallowed us up and how you came and burst the skin and you took us out safely. Hey, we'll tell them all this. They're talking. And some of them are still very traumatized by the whole event. And Krishna is pacifying them to change their attention. He says, okay, come, everybody will go wash in the hands in the river and face and all that. We're feeling dirty being in the stomach of the snake. So let's just quickly wash ourselves up and go and eat our lunch. So they all go around and sit in a circle to eat. Krishna, Yashoda had tied up in a box for him curd rice, yogurt rice. I hope you made curd yogurt rice today. You did? Somebody did? Today's Naivedyam should have been yogurt rice, one of the items. So yogurt rice and 5 pickles. You have to bring pickles also. So he loves pickles. So what he does is keeps in the middle of his palm this much curd rice, and then he puts the pickles at the fingertips. And he is about to take the first mouthful when he hears some noise amongst the cows and calves, which were, grazing in the other shady place. These people were sitting for their picnic here. So he gets up and he says, you continue eating, I'll go check and come. So he goes to check what is happening amongst the cows. And when he goes there, the cows had disappeared. The calves had disappeared. So he doesn't say anything, quietly he comes back. He doesn't want to alarm the already alarmed Gopas. Now, they were planning to tell this story to their parents, but they never are able to tell it that day. They take 1 year to tell them. And why? We'll see. This is the story. So what happens? Krishna goes, checks the cows, no cows and calves, comes back quietly. They all say, what is the matter? No, nothing is the matter. Let's eat. He is about to eat when the Gopas also vanish. He knows immediately what has happened. What has happened? Brahma, the creator, has been hearing that Narayana has been born as Krishna in Gokula. Has come there. So he wanted to really test if Krishna is Narayana. So he vanished, made to vanish the cows, calves and the Gopas, and he went away. And he said, next day I'll come and check with this guy whether he's Narayana, what he does. Now 1 day in Brahma's life is, how long? 1 year for humans. Now Krishna quietly finishes his meal. Then in the evening, when it is time to go home, the usual 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock time, Goduli time, he just clones or creates for himself another whole new batch of Gopas, cows, calves, even the stick with which they do hi, that also he makes everything the same way. Ditto. Nobody finds the difference when he takes them all home. Nobody at home finds out the difference except the mothers. Mothers, it's very difficult to cheat. They know. This fellow is not crying at all. Today is not at all cranky. But whatever food I'm giving is eating. He never used to be like this. Can you ever cheat a mother? Very, very difficult. Almost impossible. There you go. There you go. See? Major problem. But that was not happening. The Gopas were never complaining. No crying. No fighting. But they said, never mind, even if they have changed for the better only. I'm glad I don't have to hear this why. Good for us. So they were all very happy. Then they noticed another thing. Every day these children again would go to graze, again they would come. For a whole year this was happening. Okay. Why? Because it is 1 day for Brahma, remember? So 1 whole year this was happening. And the only difference the people in the village were noticing was the cows were milking more milk, creamier milk, sweeter milk. But anyway, they said, oh, that must be a lot of grazing the cows are doing, good grass they are getting, children are doing a very good job, and they are also behaving so well, wonderful. So, everybody was very happy. Then, 1 year later, that is, next day, Brahma, after he had woken up, had his lunch, he comes to check what's happening to this guy without his Gopas and cows. And there he comes and sees everybody is there. The Gopas are sitting and they're all sitting for the same lunch. Krishna with his curd rice and his 5 pickles. Nothing seems to have moved out of place. Then he understands this is no less than Narayana. He falls at his feet, begs his forgiveness and says, you gave me the job of creating and I tried to test you. Remember the first day when I told you about the creation? How Narayana gets into the stalk and becomes Brahma and tells him to create. And Brahma now trying to test his own creator. This is the beauty of the story. I told you, it's such a strange story that only after a year, now then Brahma returns all his, what all he captured, and the original boys and the cows and calves come back. So that evening when they go home, they tell their parents, Mommy, Mommy, do you know what happened? Dad, Dad, come and listen to this. What? You know, today a huge snake swallowed all of us. Oh, come on, rubbish. No, Dad, no kidding. It is true. We all were swallowed. Then Krishna came and he saved us. Okay, okay, go to bed now. Let's go to bed. Why? Because it took them 1 year to come back. Got it? Isn't that a very amazing story? Yes, no? Yes. Of course, it better be, because where have you heard a story like this? Where? Nowhere else is the story recorded like this. Where 1 whole year somebody is captured and then they come back and they believe it is only today that it happened. Amazing, isn't it? My God, the more I hear, the more I listen to it, the more I was like, Then comes Denuka, a donkey which is a demon. Balarama kills Denuka. Then one day they find that their lake is poisoned by a snake called Kalinga. He and his wives he has migrated into that lake. Nobody else is able to go. The cows and all start dying, drinking milk from that lake. That was their source of water. So they were very upset. And everybody go and tell Nandalal. In the meantime, Krishna chooses to jump into the lake, catch hold of Kalinga, and he starts dancing on his head. And each time he thumped on him, he choked and he was about to die. When his wives come and beg him, please save our husband, then he says, okay, on condition you all migrate far away, go to an unoccupied territory and stay in that water. You shouldn't go anywhere near where human beings are using the water source. This story you can take as an allegory of contamination of water with chemicals, etc., because of factories. We are destroying our lakes and our water sources. We need to take very firm action on this, the way Krishna was very firm with Kalinga, or else we will lose our health and our source of water for us and our children and our grandchildren. And then there is another beautiful message you can take from Krishna dancing on the head of Kalinga. Meenakshi went off at the right moment. I wish her to sing a song which it is by Venkata Subbayar. Call her Rekha. And this song is so amazing. It shows it. You have to close your eyes and imagine Krishna dancing on the snake, and it will be exactly like that. That is how he has composed the song. I'll ask her to sing that song. Sing us that Kalinga Nartan. Imagine the heads of the snake are our ego. Our ego has many faces, many heads. So every time somebody insults you, he insults only the ego in you. So if he is doing that, understand it is Krishna. Thump, Tai, Takka. That's what he is doing. Okay, so don't blame the person for insulting you. It's only Krishna dancing on your ego. Got it? Okay. So now let's enjoy the song.
Tam tim taranata.
Can you play the drum?
Dinatagina tam tim taranata. Dinatagina tam tim taranata. Dinatagina tam tim taranata. Tam tim taranata. Tam tim taranata. Yamuna tataka pankeruha bhavatam tim taranata. Yamuna tataka pankeruha bhavata kitata kitasara sadalana nayaka sayaka mudrita jaya jaya tam tim taranata. Dinatagina tam tim taranata. Tamita tajjam, tagatajjam, tagatika tajjam, तां नीलमनोहरजालविभूषणनिरतजलन्तरभुजङ्गनर्दन नीरजतटाक अधिगमृतुलपरङ्गो तुङ्गताटङ्कनर्तकतां तकतै तकतदिमिदियत तकताकिटतक जगदृगजगनन्दं तकजगतकजगदृगजगनन्दं यमुनातटाक तुङ्गतरङ्गं हिमगरस्मिलितरपितशुभाङ्गं हितस्ततस्तरकरुणापाङ्गं यदिवरहृदय सरोरुहवृन्दं दिनकदिल्लान दिवृतकिटदिल्लान अलक सिन्धूर अलक शृङ्गार वदन गम्भीर उरगपण सञ्चार नन्द सुकुमार नवनीत दतिचोर स्वच्छन्दमणिहार जलभवति नुतधीर नन्द सुकुमार नवनीत स्वच्छन्दमणिहार जलभवति नुतधीर जय विजयी भव नन्द कुमार व्रजजन परमानन्द किशोर प्रकटीय नटनानन्द गम्भीर करुणारसयुत भाव शरीरदीं ततां तदीं ततां ततै. Goes on.
What a song, huh? How beautifully composed. You should see somebody dance this. Oh, it's mesmerizing. You can imagine Krishna dance this, you know. Literally the saint who composed this song saw Krishna dance. That's why he sang for the dance. That's why it is so real. It was not he composed, but Krishna, he saw dancing in his vision and he composed the song. It flowed from him. So, I think I forgot to mention this. Soon after the episode of the courtyard where he breaks the two trees, Yashoda tells Nandalal, I told you she's been telling for migration. So they have migrated from Gokula to Brindavan. So all these episodes of the Agasura, Bhaka, everything happens in Brindavan. And there, Krishna has grown to be a little young boy of 7 or 8 now. But everyone, the gopis don't feel he's 7 or 8. Age-wise, he looks 7 or 8. But everything about him was amazingly mature. And they were so devoted to him. And Krishna promised that he would completely be with them in all the 7 levels one day, because he was already planning to go to Mathura because he has this great task to complete. He had to kill Kamsa, but he had to wait for Kamsa's cup to be filled. He was waiting for a particular time. So, in the meantime, he says you have to maintain a vrata called the Katyayani vrata. You have to fast every day. You have to have a bath at 4:30 in the morning and then go to the temple, and you have to do certain rituals, and after a certain period of time you will attain me. And the mantra, there is a chanting mantra that you can chant. It's called the Katyayani mantra, and it simply says Katyayani Mahamaye, that is to Devi Katyayani, Mahamaye Sarva Saubhagyadayini, the one who gives all the wealth, not only money, all the kinds of prosperities. Sarva Saubhagyadayini Nanda Gopa Sutam Devi Patime Kurute Namaha. Nanda Gopa Sutam. Who is the child of Nanda? Krishna. May I get him as my husband. This is what it says. Many ordinary beings in this world think if you say this mantra you will get married. Some Kupusami Mudusami. They forget it is only for marrying Krishna. Even my aunt, my father's sister, when I was like 17 or 18, that's the time they would start looking for a bridegroom. This was way back in the 60s. So she said, learn this mantra, now you have to chant, because my elder sister was married. So she said, now your turn, you better sit and chant. I said, what mantra? I don't want to get married. I don't want mantra, tantra, nothing. Sorry. Nothing doing. She called my dad. See, she's all the time giving me trouble. Others sat down and learned the mantra. She's not learning. Tell her to come and sit. Now, if I had known the meaning, I would have promptly done it. I thought the mantra was to get married to some Kopo Minno Sami somebody. So I said nothing doing, I am not interested. Nobody told me the meaning. Fighting, I sat down. My father gave me one glare, so I sat down. Katyayini, Mahamayi, Sadasomajitayini, Andagopasutam Depachpe. I would be so angry and I would chant it against my will, But look, he never spares you. Even if you don't know the meaning, even if you don't want it, it is given to you and forced down your throat. Isn't that amazing? And every day I've been chanting it. And even till I read the Bhagavatham and somebody told me the meaning, I was like, wow, how? Hey, good. Now loudly I keep chanting. So those who want it after the class, come and take the mantra from me. But remember, it is not for getting married to anybody else. Okay? I better warn you. Okay? By the way, all of us, whether males or females, are his bride. Okay? You better know it today. Earlier the better. Even Meera says the same thing. We are all his brides. Because he has no gender. Okay? And we also, by the way, when we die, what gender does the mind and all have? What does it have? The soul has no gender. Right? So we are all his bride. We all need to go to him one day. So you can all chant this mantra. What do you say? Yes. Men, women, all write it down, those who are interested, and keep chanting it. Whenever you want, you can chant it. And you will attain him, the Lord. So they all are regularly doing it. And now comes this episode, which is what I'm going to talk about and move on to the... then he goes to do the Rasa Krida with them afterwards. But before that, he gives them the final test. The Rasa Krida is highly not understood, let us say, totally misunderstood by many. So we need to understand this. For this, we need this previous episode where one day, early morning, they had to have the bath because when it is dark, the women have to go bathe. Because once the light of the sun comes, the men will start coming to bathe, then the women cannot have a proper bath. So they will have to go in when it's very dark at 4:30 in the morning. So one day, as usual, they had gone to bathe and they would take off their clothes, leave it on the bank, and then they would come to take it. And one day, Krishna takes all the clothes, goes up the tree, which is adjoining he doesn't do any secret, openly only. He takes all the clothes, and he keeps it on the bough there and he's playing the flute happily. And these women come out and they see no clothes. And so they duck back into the water and say, Krishna, please give us our clothes. What are you doing? Now what is this new thing you are doing? Krishna says, if you want your clothes, come and get it. What do you mean, come and get it? How can we come out? I don't know. It's part of the vrat. If you want, you have to come out and take it. Now, many people don't understand this. They think he's lecherous. And he's 7 or 8 years old. What lecher, what is that he can have? You know what it was? It was the ultimate test of dropping the ego which thinks that the body is real. The dropping of the attachment to the body is the ultimate, which is like a death actually. And if you still have an awareness of your body and your gender, you cannot have Rasa Krida with me. This is what he's telling. Is this clear? Because when you come to Rasa Krida with your body, you will want sex. And that's not what our relationship is all about, my dears. Are you getting the message? Then only you will understand whole of Krishna's life. Otherwise, this one thing, everybody gets it wrong. That is why anybody can be his bride. This has nothing to do with gender or body or sex. Is this clear? So he says this is the ultimate test he gives them. Okay, so they say, okay, we are coming out, and so they hide their private parts and they come out. Then he says, no, not like that. You have to raise your hands above your head and come. Chanting the mantra Katyayani Mahamaya. And so they do that. And it is because of that they were able to drop their sense of the body, and then he knew they are ready for Rasa Krida. And then one full moon night, he just goes to the banks of the Yamuna, starts playing on the flute. And again, another beautiful episode where only Sufi saints and others understand this, others don't. All the gopis are busy in their household duties. They hear the call of the flute and they drop whatever activities they are having and they just go. So there is a big description of what each woman is doing and how she drops everything. And midway, when death calls, the death of the ego and the merging of the divine. I always tell these 3 words. Chinmayananda once told a man who wanted to know what the Vedanta, the whole of the philosophy, Indian philosophy, can you tell me very briefly, he said, because he was busy going to catch another bus in a bus depot. And Chinmayananda said, I can say it in 3 words, will you understand? He said, oh yeah, I have read all the book and everything, internet, everything I know, you can tell me, I will understand. So Chinmayananda looked into his eyes and said, undress and embrace, he said. And that guy ran for his dear life, thinking this man was very lecherous. So what is the undressing? The same thing. Gopis dropping the ego sense. Me and mine. There is no me, there is no mine, there is only the divine. So dropping that, and that immediately you merge with the divine. The very instant. It's not that you drop, 10 days later you merge. 10 minutes later you merge. No. It happens simultaneously. The nobody happens from somebody, then the everybody happens at once. Isn't it? Right? So that's what it means. Then there is the total merging. And they all run to him, and then he clones himself. So he gives one Krishna to each gopi, and they are so happy for a few minutes. Then the ego comes up again and thinks, only I have Krishna. And the very second the ego comes up, the Lord vanishes. So when the ego comes, divine cannot be there. Only when the ego drops, the divine can be there. So he vanishes, they are all in tears and they cry. That's when the Gopika Geetam by Jayadevar is sung. A very painful, very pained song they sing. And they go mad, they go crazy, they go into the forest asking the tree and the plant and the vine, hey, have you seen my Krishna? Oh, bumblebee, did you know where my Krishna went? They go crazy. And then after they have suffered enough and they've learnt their lesson, he appears again, and this time they make sure they do not think it is only for them. They understand he is universal, and then they all have the most amazing moonlight dance. I could have danced all night, I could have danced all night, and still have begged for more. I could have spread my wings and done 1,000 things I've never done before. I'll never know what made it so exciting, why all at once my heart took flight. I could have danced, danced, danced all night. I'm sure if they knew English, they would have sung this song. On love, by the way, and it is all about bhakti, devotion, divine love, which is what Narada Bhakti Sutra is all about. So if you don't know what it is, read this chapter, read Narada Bhakti Sutra, you have it all. Now Krishna does this because he knows it is now time for him to go to Mathura, and he knows once he goes there he is not going to come back to Vrindavan. This is his farewell actually. Later on he does call them over for one more meeting. He conducts what Love Mela later on, but that's much later. That's again before the Mahabharata war, and that would be the last time he meets them in the flesh. So here he is ready, and Akrura, Kamsa now knows exactly where the 8th child is. He is in Vrindavan, he has located him, and now he says, I am not going to send these fools, they went and messed it up. I am going to handle this myself. So he sends one of his ministers, Akrura, to go and fetch Krishna from there to Mathura, saying there is a big tournament and tell all of them to come. And he had planned elaborately to kill Krishna and Balarama, but by not one method but 3 or 4 ways. So he tells Akrura to go get him, and when Akrura goes to fetch, of course the gopis are in tears. Yashoda is almost fainting, she cannot tolerate this, but then Nandalal says he has to go. Krishna tells his mom, don't worry, I'll come back to you. All this he had to tell a little lies. He's quite used to it. He says somehow pacifies her, and he leaves for Mathura, he and Balarama. And when they reach Mathura, he gets off the chariot at the entrance itself, goes to he says, I want to see the whole town. You just drop me at the gate, I will go in walking, I want to meet all the people, because a lot of ordinary people in Mathura were eagerly awaiting to see Krishna. They've heard so much about him, but they never had a chance to leave. They were scared, if they went and then Kamsa will chop off their heads or something for going and seeing Krishna. So they were all scared, and that's why they were staying inside the city itself. So now that Krishna is here, they all are so happy. So we have some of the devoted people meeting him, having the personal contact with him, and he does all that, and the next day is the tournament. And in the tournament, first Kamsa has a huge elephant to go and crush them both, and of course they conquer the elephant. Then he has 2 huge wrestlers, what do you call them? Sumo wrestlers kind of fellows, 2 big, Mushtika and Chanura. They come along, and these Balarama and Krishna, in 2 minutes they finish them off. They don't waste time. No elaborate fighting and all that, prolonged fighting, nothing, very quick. And then, within a second, Krishna now knows it is time for Kamsa to die. He just jumps up to the dais where the king is seated, pulls him off the throne, throws him on the ground, lands on his chest, 1 knock, he's dead. See, he waited patiently, giving him all the time to turn a new leaf, but he didn't. He went on doing atrocious things. So this day, when he decided to kill him, it is all done within a flash. Before people could understand what was happening, it was done. goes to prison, releases his parents and his grandfather. Is in prison. He releases him and he installs Ugrasena in the throne and then tells his parents, I have to now finally go to school. And the parents, why do you want to go to school? No, if I don't go to school, that's it. Nobody will go to school after me. As it is, they are telling Krishna married so many people, I'll marry at least 2. People are wanting to imitate me in all these things. Now they'll say, no school. So I must go to school. He goes to Sandipani, a rishi. And why he chooses Sandipani? Because after the tutoring is over, even that rishi tells, he knows, he sees Krishna and he says, what have you come to learn from me? No, you have to teach me all the Vedas and blah blah everything. And he knows it is Narayana. Krishna chooses this teacher because he wishes to give him dakshina. What is dakshina? Skillful giving. For a healer and a teacher, you never call it a salary or a payment. You can never pay for your life, for your health and for your wisdom, isn't it? Nothing you can give can equal it. So what you can do is make a token, skillfully giving token, which is called dakshina. It's also a special name for it. It's not called a salary. So that he wanted to give him, and he would not take it without giving something in return. That's why he pretended to go learn from Sandipani, and at the end of the thing he says, sir, please tell me what I can give you. Of course this man will not tell, but his wife, she says, Krishna, even if he is not asking, I am asking you, I want you to bring my son back from death, because the son had died and she was missing him so much. And Krishna knew this. So he goes back to his friend, his friend Mahabali, goes there and tells, look here, you have to release this particular guy. He's my dakshina to my teacher. So he takes the dead son alive, and just like Jesus awoke Lazarus from the dead, Krishna brought this child back from the dead and gave it to his teacher. Then he sends Uddhava to Vrindavan. What for? Uddhava was one of the intellectuals, but devoted to Krishna, to Narayana. But he was more in the head. And he would all the time philosophize about the Jivatma, Paramatma, and this thing and that thing. And Krishna himself got confused sometimes what he was saying. And so he did not know how to sit and correct him and all that. And he had no time also. He had so many things to do. So what he did very skillfully, he said, you know what, Uddhava, my gopis will be yearning for me in Vrindavan. Please just go and tell them that I am fine and I am very busy and I will one day send for them, but will you carry this message? And Uddhava thought he was very important, that he is being chosen to do this. So he goes. He goes there, and as soon as his chariot reaches there, the gopis come around him. How's our Krishna? How they're literally plucking his coat and his hair and his, shirt to ask him how their dear Krishna was. Everyone at one time talking. And he's like, okay, I'm telling you, wait, ooh. And they are not listening, they are asking him question. Is he alright? Is he fine? Is he married? Did he marry? No, he's not yet married. Oh, okay, what's happening? Oh no, he's really busy. Oh, why is he busy? What's happening? No. And then finally he gets to telling them, he starts giving them a lecture on Jivatma, Paramatma. His favorite topic. He has read so much. He was offloading it on them. And they were listening very patiently because, they were very polite. Because he's come from Krishna, so must, okay, we are.
So gone are the days when
And after they heard the lecture for 2-3 hours, he said, Uddhava, please pardon us. We didn't understand a word of all this. We know only one thing. We love Krishna.
WHO defines health as not just an absence. It says it's an absence.
We don't know Jivatma, we don't know Paramatma. We know only Krishna. So only tell us when he goes to sleep, what time he wakes up. As soon as he wakes up, what does he do? Does he drink milk? Does does he go to people's house to have butter? What does he do? Throughout the day, what does he? Just tell us that. This is our Jivatma, Paramatma, everything. This is our Brahma Sutra, this is our Ashtavakra, every Gita, everything is there. Tell me what he does from morning till night. Did he sneeze? Does he cough? Does he turn his head this way? Does he laugh the same way he used to laugh like this? Gopis were imitating him, and for them that was everything for that. Was Ramayana, Mahabharata, Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatham, everything for them. How does he sit? How does he walk? How does he stand? How does he eat? How much does he eat? What does he like? Does he still love the butter? No, he does. He is now very aware of his figure. Does he play the flute? No, he gave the flute to Radha, it seems, before he left Vrindavan. So he does not play the flute anymore. Oh, he does not play the flute anymore. All you people are missing something. When my Lord played the flute, oh, isn't it? Yeah. It used to be. So they're all talking about how when he played the flute, what happened, how the Rasa Leela was. And after that, Uddhava's eyes were popping out. And for the first time, he knew what? Bhakti, devotion, true unconditional love for the Lord was. What to do? I have to carry on with the story. Among many enemies that he had, there was one king called Jarasandha. Later on we are going to see more about him. At that time I'll tell you how he was born and all that. And he one day decided to lay siege to Mathura. So he comes and lays siege to Mathura, and Krishna tells Balarama, we have to now leave this place and go somewhere else. Balarama says, people will think we are cowards, we are running away from this guy. Krishna says, people will anyway say something or the other. So what does it matter? This is not the time for Jarasandha to die. So he moves off immediately to Dwaraka. He gets Vishwakarma to create Dwaraka off the coast of India, a small island place, and there he creates his own town, his kingdom, and he moves there with Balarama and a few Yadavas. They all go there. So he shifts to Dwaraka. Now, there is in Vidarbha a princess called Rukmini. Vidarbha, Meenakshi tells me, is in Gujarat. So she tells me yesterday that the bride is a Gujju. And the bridegroom is UPite. Okay. So we have to do it that way. The bride party has to do Gujju dance and the bridegroom's party has to do UPI dance. So you want the marriage in the Gujju style or the UPI style? Gujju style. But I know exactly. You have to do it. That's all. UPItes have to talk. Where are the UPItes? There are no UPite. I am a UPite, Baba. I am Haryana. But no, we are Delhi NCR. Okay. So, Rukmini has heard of Krishna. Remember the other day I was telling you? She wants to marry only him. Her brother Rukma, his friend is Shishupala and Jarasandha. This is his gang. And they all hate Krishna. So he didn't want his sister to marry Krishna. And when she professed her love for him, he said nothing doing. And when the dad tried to support, he said, I'll put you away in jail. Shut up. She has to marry only my friend Shishupala. So because he says like that and he's quite a cruel guy, Rukmini sends a letter through a poor Brahmin to Krishna saying, I told you, Shrutva gunan bhuvana sundara. Bhuvana sundara. Such a beauty. And the beauty is not only because he's rather blue in color, darkish grey. Normally, I don't know, every time somebody is looking for a bridegroom, it is always fair. Gora. Chitta. Gora Chitta. And then they will worship Krishna, who is not at all Gora. So he was very dark, tall, handsome. And she knew about the inner beauty of him. And she says, please come and take me tomorrow when I will make a pretense of going to this temple, and when I come out, you better be there to take me, otherwise I will die. So Krishna immediately crushes the letter, throws it down so that Balarama will come and see the letter. Why? Because he wants army support. Because he knows when he goes to abduct her, there will be an army from Rukma chasing him or Shishupala. And he needs an army immediately. He had no time. He had to immediately rush to the temple. Otherwise Rukmini will die. So he dashes off in his chariot, goes there, plucks her from the steps, puts her on the, very romantic, grabs her onto his chariot. He comes chasing, and Rukma comes chasing Krishna, stops him. Krishna and Rukma have a fight, and he is about to kill him when Rukmini says, please, my brother. Okay. So he just chops off his hair, insults him by doing that, and then he leaves with Rukmini. And as he is retreating, Shishupala follows with an army. Balarama in the meantime had read the letter, followed with an army, and Balarama conquers Shishupala. Krishna reaches safely with Rukmini back to his home, Dwaraka. And there they have the whitest of white weddings with a 10-tier cake. The only formal wedding of Krishna was with Rukmini. Official and formal. This is the only official. For all other weddings are all kinds of weddings. This is complicated. Very complicated. All kinds. You are going to hear all of them tomorrow. He marries 60,108 brides altogether. How this account is, I don't know. You will be seeing it. The Ashta Lakshmis, of course. 8 Lakshmis. Who they are, Guruji has given a talk on it. So you can get that CD and hear it. You can save me some breath. And I can't say it better than him. So you can hear the Ashta Lakshmis, who they are, what they are. But I will give you the story part of it. The explanations are given by Guruji. And Rukmini is Mahalakshmi. When Narayana is there, Mahalakshmi can't be far away. So she has to come. So she has come. They are married, and there is great enjoyment. The whole of Dwaraka is celebrating the marriage. The marriage is always between, this is where the Jivatma Paramatma marriage is talked about. Each one of us are his brides. So today you all dance. I noticed yesterday some were audience. We don't need audience for this. This dance is each one of you Just know you are the bride of the Lord. With or without Katyayini mantra, you are his bride. Okay? We are all his brides. So today dance as his bride. Forget who is in front of you. Manuswami, Gopaswami, nothing here. Only with Krishna. Krishna Swami. Okay? Just let go and dance joyfully. Some of you can move to the other room, you know. We can use that room after for eating. I found yesterday it was a bit too cramped here. So some of us can move there and some can dance here. You can still hear the music. So we'll do that. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Gurudev. So today, the day 5 ends. We have 2 more days. We'll meet up tomorrow. Om Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Tat Sat Shri Krishna Arpanamastu. Jai Gurudev.